up? It's Sarah from Heart Over Hearts, and I'm here with the tag video. Now this one's very, very special because it is my dear friend Leo from A Little Book Life. This is his first tag that he's ever created. And you know, your first tag, you put a lot of thought into it and it shows. This is the favorite character tag. I'll put a link to his video below. And let's just jump right in because there's a lot here. So there's 10 questions about characters in books. And I think when I think back on books, I think about scenes and I also think about characters. And that seems to be what resonates with me the most. So in this, the first question is, who is a character that you love fiercely? For each of these, I'm going to add a few. The first one I have is Dr. Patricia Westerford, and this is from The Overstory by Richard Powers. Now, this character of Dr. Patricia, we see her as a little girl, and we see her through her entire life. And she's just a very diligent, believes very strongly in just putting in the work, and just is more focused on her work than she is the things that are going on around them. And she's devoted to botany and trees specifically. And through her career, we see her dismissed, we see her pushed aside, we see her struggling upstream, trying to get recognition, not for herself, but for her theories and her ideas, which are revolutionary. And that character broke my heart, but I also got in that book such a redemptive arc for her work and for her theories and what she was doing in her life. That the little joys that she was able to collect in her life, despite a lot of painful experiences, just set my heart at ease. So I absolutely love her. Teddy Todd. This is from Kate Atkinson's A God in Ruins. And Teddy Todd is, this is this kind of a companion piece to Life After Life. So both of them deal with the Todd family. In Life After Life, we really focus on Ursula. But in this one, we're looking at Teddy. And Teddy is kind of the younger son, and he has all of these things that he wants to do. It's a very he's almost got a poet's heart, and he is sent off to war, and it changes him in profound ways. And he comes back from war, and we see his entire life. And I love a full life story. I just love those. And you see how Teddy just wants to live quietly and simply, that he doesn't take things for granted because of the war, but he also doesn't have a lot of expectations. And I find his character so fantastic and so heartwarming. I loved him. I absolutely loved him. Let's go to number 2. This is a character that is heavily flawed, but you love anyway. So one of the joys of reading Rush was to read a book that you've seen the movie for. And I had never read E.M. Forster's A Room with a View, even though I deeply love the Merchant Ivory production with dear young Helena Bonham Carter. And so Lucy Honeychurch from A Room with a View is a character that is so heavily flawed. I mean, a lot of it is just she's young and she's trying to make everybody else happy instead of really following her heart. The comedy in that book is delightful, and you know, her rebellion and her trying to gently push back and then finally just kind of giving in. I find her too much. I think she's fantastic. Next up is the main character from a phenomenal book, An Unnecessary Woman, and this is by Robbie Alamendine. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But this is Aaliyah, and Aaliyah is an older woman. You know, I love my older women characters. And she is someone who life has really beaten down, and she is in retreat. And she has made her life so small but so precious and focused on her work, that she is surprised when she lifts her head up and realizes she needs to engage in the people in and with the people around her. She has been living in this home, in this apartment building for many years, and she is at risk of being evicted. And she has ignored it and ignored it and ignored it, but now it's a real threat. And this is in Lebanon, and I think that the environment, and we get glimpses of the of war and things that have impacted her. I think that you understand her flaws when the full arc of the story has unraveled itself. But I think she's fantastic. Another character who's deeply flawed, but I love, this is Emirates from Magda Szabo's The Door. If I ever need to get inspiration for someone who knows how to create boundaries and hold them firm, it is Emirates. She knows how to manage up. She knows how to tell truth to power and to establish her boundaries and hold them firm. She is a house cleaner extraordinaire. And she actually interviews the people who want her services. It's not the other way around. And she's kind of bossy and strong-willed, and is very respected, but very private, very private. And I absolutely adore her. I think she's fantastic. Next up, a character that made you laugh out loud. I'm a big fan of Auntie Coldy. This is a new set of mysteries. Auntie Coldy and the Sicilian Lions, I think, was the first one, and this is by Mario Giordano. She's just funny. She's an older woman from Germany who is retired into Sicily, and she's just kind of like this bawdy, wild woman who just wants to drink. She just enjoys her drink, and she enjoys her men, and she's not here to let you tell her anything about anything. And she just makes me laugh. She's just really outrageous. Next up, a child character that you like. So I fell in love with this character earlier this year. This is Eli Bell from Boy Swallows Universe. This is Trent Dalton's first book. He is an Australian writer, and this was up in the BookTube Prize, a very early round. I do love a child character who's really smart and more aware than people give them credit for. I don't like precocious kids that are smartasses. I do like smart kids who figure things out, even if they sometimes get it wrong, but who have this ability to observe and to reflect and record. And that's what we have here. We have Eli Bell, who is the son of ex-junkies, and who has figured out that his mother and stepfather are dealing. And he knows that they are dealing for a very bad person. And so he's going to save them by figuring out a way to get them away from and to give them enough money to actually move into the suburbs that he knows his mother wants to move to. And so you have a child with a cause, and there are all sorts of bad characters in this story, but he's this kind of shining light throughout. I just thought he was fantastic. Another one was the character of Kaya Clark, and this was in Delia Owen's book, Where the Crawdads Sing. And she is an abused and severely neglected little girl in the swamps of the Carolinas. And she has really left so much on her own to kind of figure things out because her father is incredibly abusive. And so she spends most of her time trying to stay out of his hair. But she's inquisitive, and she's smart, and she's very in tune with nature. And we have her from childhood into as she grows up into a woman. And I just thought that character was so richly drawn. I really, really fell in love with her. Then the next question, and this is number 5, what's an animal character that you like? And it really dawned on me that I don't really have a lot of literary fiction books that have animals in them. And I think that's a shame. I think there's an opportunity for that. The first one that came to mind actually was from Breakfast at Tiffany's by Truman Capote. Holly has a cat that she just calls Cat. And they have this mutually exclusive, but they don't kind of tread on each other's life. And mutual respect kind of goes on there, but they each do their thing. And I like that very much. I thought that was quite a great cat character. But I think my very favorite is Black Beauty, and that was from Anna Sewell. I read Black Beauty when I was a little girl and bawled my eyes out. I think they were probably super puffy, and I may not have had any more liquid in my body after I read Black Beauty as a little girl. Number 6 is a strong woman that you like. Well, I needed to wear this, my Read Women t-shirt. So many. There are just so many. This is really my wheelhouse. I read more women than I read men, and I'm always on the lookout for a tremendously interesting, complex, not always nice woman character. A strong woman character. I mentioned Emirates from Magda Szabo's The Door, so she fits for here as well. Ludi Johnson. I just read this recently, and this is Ann Petrie's The Street. Ludi Johnson is a woman who is determined against systemic racism and class hierarchy to keep her down, and she is determined to make a better life for herself and then also for her young son. And the things that she goes through and the turmoils that she goes through are heartbreaking, but very, very realistic, very real. And it's horrible that this book is still so relevant to today. And I think her character is very emblematic of what many Black women face in light of current situations in the United States. So I think that Ludi Johnson is just a fantastic character. Then we have Janina. This is from Olga Tokarczuk's book, Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. It's just like one of the best titles in literature in many, many, many years. This is Janina, and she is an older woman. She lives on the border of Poland and Czechoslovakia, and she watches over the homes of people who have like a second home in this kind of rural area in the woods. And she's just so interesting. She has her pet project that she is deeply invested in. She's been a teacher, and she kind of is a troublemaker and is not afraid to get in people's faces and to stand her ground and fight for what's right. And it's made her kind of an isolated character in this community. But I think she's fantastic. Absolutely adore her. Then number 7 is a brave character that you admire. This one immediately came to mind, and this is Middle Sister from Anna Burns's Milkman. Middle Sister is the middle sister in the story, and she is a young woman. She's right out of high school. She's taking some courses at a local college, and she is dating a maybe boyfriend, and she's obsessed with reading. She's always walking in her neighborhood and walking from place to place with a book. One day when she's taking a walk on her own, she's stopped by this man, and he's known in the town as the Milkman. And he's very, very dangerous man. And in fact, the entire neighborhood is really hemmed in by both external forces that want something and are trying to control this community, but also inside forces that are trying to fight against that, but also controlling the community and their responses. And she's stuck between a rock and a hard place, because just the simple fact that he stopped her in public and people have seen that happen means that she's under suspicion by the community and also by those external forces. And he has a lot of power and she does not. And so we're in her mind as she is going throughout her days trying to figure out how she is going to avoid becoming this man's mistress, where she has very little to no power. Just fantastic book. I did a full review of that book as one of the few book reviews that I have done. So you may want to look for that. Next, so number 8, character that scares the hell out of you. Milkman was one of those that scared the hell out of me. And I think I just felt so much terror because of how well that character was crafted, and you feel it from the perspective of middle sister. I'm also really scared by Herbert Humber by Nabokov. And this is, of course, the famous anti-protagonist of Lolita. This is the creepy pedophile who moves in and starts a relationship, basically rapes a young girl repeatedly and psychologically messes with her. And we hear his thoughts as he's justifying his actions later on as the ultimate of unreliable narrators. But the pains with which he tries to turn that story around is so creepy and scary. It really does shake me to my core. Next up, a really mean character. So I recently read Frost in May, and this is by Antonia White. The nuns in that book were straight up horrible, horrible people. So it's at a boarding school, and these young girls are there at this boarding school, and they've been separated from their families, and they are not allowed to make close friendships because of the fear of lesbianism. And so they're purposefully pulled away from friendships that they make and forced to interact with other girls. And it just seems so cruel and unnecessary. So it makes me very angry. I also get very angry at the main character, the male character, Akin from Stay With Me. And this is by Ayobami Adebayo. And it's a fantastic story set in Zimbabwe, if I remember correctly, about infertility and a woman kind of struggling with infertility with her husband and the lengths that she goes to try to figure out how to give him a child. That was a very, very cruel man. And then last, a character that you really hate. I will say I hated, despised, hate-read every single last solitary character in Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. Grim noir is not my thing, clearly. And I spent something like 800 excruciating pages with those characters, and I can honestly say that I hated them. But what I didn't hate was doing this tag. So I am going to tag a few people because I think this is such a good exercise, and I can't wait to hear some people's answers to this. So I'm going to tag Sean and Bert from Past Story Time. I'm also going to tag, I would love, Elizabeth from Bookish North, I would love to hear your answers to this. Hannah from Hannah's Books, please also let me know what your thoughts are on this. Let me see who else. I'm trying to think of who did Leo not tag already. And I think some of these people have already been tagged. Heather from Soggy Expat Book Nerd. I would love to hear your take on this as well. Also, Susan from Road Reads. Please, I would like to hear your thoughts on this. And Kay from Kay Becker Books. I would love to hear your thoughts as well. And Alba, if you have time to do a tag, I would love to hear your thoughts as well, because I have a feeling you've got some cherished and loved characters. So that's it. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to talking to you another time. As always, please maintain safe social distance, wear your masks, and don't touch your face. Bye.